Hello, Forecaster here again, and we are back for episode 49. And we are going to make some etching acid. So we throw some rotten flesh, some spider eyes, 2 green plastic, 2 gunpowder, and a bucket of water into the pressure chamber. And this will give us a bucket of etching acid. So the final piece. And we need to tell it to extract this as well. Right, there we go. Then we're going to add it to the filter, though we don't really need more than this, because it doesn't get used up. So we're going to need let's look this up. 1 green plastic and 2 iron. So we're going to need I want to make 2 of these at least to start with, because you can use them for quite a lot of things. And I will probably make a lot more off camera, because we're going to need quite a few of them. Did I make the wrong thing now? Oh, right. Well, I'm gonna use those anyway, but we'll start with 2 compressed iron ingots. Let me put 2 of those in and 2 of those. We can put the green plastic in here for now. And I'll have to remove this temporarily. Actually, we can just do this for now. Actually, let's set this so only pull things out on a high signal. Then we can put these 2 in and put these 2 back in, which is pulled out when we remove the filter. So now it's not pulling the... There we go, yeah. So now we're going to remove the filter. Then it's pulling one of them out, because they do not stack. And then you can tell it to pull the other one out. Then we're going to have to put it in here, and now it's going to process this, and we can take it out at any time. But the longer we leave it in there, the higher is the chance that it will be processed when we finally throw it into the acid. Whoops. So I'm going to put this here because I don't go here very often. Let's make this a little less flashy. So we can take this out at any time. And when we do that and throw it into here, it has a certain chance to turn into a an unassembled PCB, which, as you can see, we have etching acid, or we could use an assembly line with a laser, and it has it could also turn into a failed PCB, which you can then smelt into back into an empty PCB, and then you have to put it back into the light box, but you don't actually lose the resources. So if I now throw this in here, and I will be right back as soon as something happens. Alright, so there we have it. It has turned into a PCB, and it looks like it did not fail. So now I'll have to get it, which will cost me some damage. Or not. Alright, so it did work. We have an unassembled PCB. I was pretty lucky that it didn't fail with how long, or how short of a time. It's less than 50% chance for it to succeed. So we'll throw that in there. Now, to make this usable, we're going to need some more things. We need 3 transistors, which is redstone, compressed iron ingots, and black plastic. And we need 3 capacitors, which is the same but cyan plastic. So we can make that. How many did we get? We had 1. So we need 6 plastic, 6 compressed iron. Let's see, 6, and then 2 more. We need 6 redstone as well, and then 6 pieces of coal for the plastic. And then we're going to, the first thing is we're going to throw the iron in here to turn into compressed iron. We're going to put the coal in there to make it to make plastic. Then I'm going to have to ready my cells to get the plastic, and then we're going to put it in here, and we needed 3 cyan plastic and 3 black plastic, and then we can take all but 2 of you. We're going to turn that off to prevent it from pulling the plastic out, or the iron out. I'm going to wait. as it puts the things inside. And then they're going to turn into the things. And then we can turn that back on, and we can turn off the filter to allow it to pull them out. Then we're going to add these to the filter to enable it to pull them out in the future. Then we're going to need crafting grid. So pretty sure the recipe is shapeless. Yep. So now we have a printed circuit board. Let's check on this. I don't think it's been 5 minutes yet. Nope. So the printed circuit board can be used for quite a bunch of things. We can do some advanced pressure machines with them. The flux compressor is for generating pressure using RF. We have an electric compressor which uses EUs. We have the assembly line things, and we have the drill which uses one circuit board. The laser uses one input-output unit, which you need 2 of these, uses 1. And then the controller uses 3, and the platform uses 1. So you need quite a bit of these PCBs to make these to make the assembly line. You can also use make normal drones, which is nice. And the programmer, we have the programmable controller, and then the pneumatic helmet, and this drone interface, which I'm not really interested in. Now this requires upgrades to do anything, so we can also upgrade logistics drones into regular drones by using a printed circuit board, and that's pretty much it. And there we have another one succeeded, which is nice. I'm probably going to make the things to make that into an assemble that circuit board later. I don't know what I want to do first, really. Don't really need any of these. We have the pneumatic generator and the pneumatic dynamo, and these two generate take in pressure and generate EUs or RF, but at a loss. If you use a flux compressor, take in RF, generate pressure, which you immediately input into a pneumatic dynamo, and then output RF, you're going to have a loss, which is obviously intentional. Now we can take those out. But I might want to make a normal drone. That is probably what I'm going to do. So we just take the logistics drone and then take the printed circuit board. Actually, we might want to make a programmer first. So we need 6 plastic, 5 red, and 1 black. So you need to get 6 6 coal, not charcoal, because then we can look at programming a little bit. No, it doesn't go in there. And then I can make the PCB for the drone itself in between this episode and the next one. What more was it? Turbine rotors, which are redstone and gold. 6 of you, which goes in there. And then we needed 1 black and the remaining ones red. Then I need to get some gold and redstone, which fortunately I have plenty of redstone right now, which is very nice. Ah, right. I completely forgot about this. How many do we need? No. Need 2 rotors, which is 6 blades. So we need 6 gold and 12 redstone. So last episode I said I would place the lights. However, that didn't end up happening. I've made the lights, but I noticed or discovered that the lights are drawing a lot of power. A lot more power than they're supposed to, which is a little unfortunate. So, and it pretty much drained my CSU completely, faster than my turbine could generate more power, which is kind of bad. And I only had 2 lights placed at that point, so that's obviously not intentional. So hopefully that will be fixed relatively soon, so I can put up the lights. I have drawn the cables, however, and as you might notice, the cables are, before you could see these channels in the workshop itself, and you might have noticed that they were gone. And we are going to right, I never added the turbines, apparently. Let's make a bunch of those. Should probably add these to the filter. But we're going to take a look at the mystery of the missing cable channels later. No, that was wrong. I always get it wrong. There we go. Is that all? Yep. So now we can make the programmer like so. So the programmer, let's put it here for now. The programmer is what you use to program drones. Let's have a quick look. Alright, I already collected that. I forgot. So the programmer is what you use to program drones. And to do that, you have these puzzle pieces here. And you always need to start with this, the start piece. And then you have quite a bunch of commands and things to do. So currently we have the difficulty on easy, and all this does is hide the more advanced pieces like conditions and such. So we have the entity attack, for example, and this has two inputs. And as the inputs are on the side here, you can see there's a kind of a one edge, and then we have two edges, and these are two different shapes. The first one is the area piece, and this fits on here. You can see it's snapped to this piece. And the second is the text piece, which is this one here. So this takes two parameters in the form of these pieces. The first one is an area, obviously. And to set the area, you need a GPS tool and or two, and you click this button. Then you select the GPS tool you want, which you've used to select a point, to set it as point 1. Then you could either go take that same GPS tool and go select another point, come back and select it as point 2, or use a second GPS tool which you have selected point 2 with. Then you will choose which type of area you want, if you want the filled sphere, etc. So this will define which area the entity attack piece will work in. And you can show this area by clicking this, and it will mark the area that is selected. And I'll tell you what the difference is between these two buttons shortly. Then we have the text piece, and this can be used to define what the drone will be allowed to attack. Now you can see it says press I for info. So if I hit I, it's going to open the in-game wiki mod interface, and it's going to open the page for this, the entity attack piece. And as you can see here, we have we can specify the area, and we can specify which creatures are allowed to be attacked by using text pieces. We can also see this here. If we give the drone an entity tracker, the drone will be able to perform ranged attacks. By default, the drone will attack with melee. Now, I can take another piece and attach it to the end of this existing piece. So I can either select, and I can select a completely separate area, or one that intersects this one. It doesn't really matter. And they will be combined. So if I have two areas that are completely separate, the drone will be able to operate in both of these. So if it detects an entity in one of these areas when it gets to this piece, it will try to kill that entity, as long as it matches the text filter. But let's say we don't have a filter. Now you can also attach pieces on this side. However, this is the negative side. So if we define an area in this piece, it will be subtracted from these. So for example, we can exclude a smaller area within one of these two larger areas, and the drone will ignore anything that is in this area. And the same thing can be done with the text bit down here. And we can also attach multiples to this. Ah, that's weird. I would expect this to be the root piece, but oh well. And then you can continue adding commands downwards here. For example, the right-click entity. And some of these have extra options you can set by opening the right-click menu. For example, the export to inventory, we can define which sites it's allowed to export into. And the same thing with the import from inventory. We can select which sites it's allowed to import from. And we can specify an amount here. And for example, the inventory, we only need to have a single coordinate selected. So we can use a single GPS tool to define a container, such as this crate here, for example. And we don't have to define point 2 at all. Or we can define an area, and the drone will interact with all the inventories in this area. And you can also see we have a new shape here. And this is the item filter, which I had right here and didn't need to expand that. And this allows us to search for an item or a block to specify, for example, a mushroom. So the filter is set to mushroom, red mushroom. And this will make it so the drone will only export mushrooms. It will only put mushrooms in this inventory, or any inventories within this area. So this is essentially, this side is a whitelist, and this side is a blacklist. So if we move this piece over here, the drone will be allowed to put anything except mushrooms in the inventories in this area. And so there's a lot of things you can do with this. If we click this to medium, you can see the page is increased, and we have a bunch of more pieces. We have conditions now, and if we put it on advanced, we have a few more. So we're not really going to look too much at this right now. I still have to make the drone itself, and then I'm going to have to decide what I wanted to do, and then we're probably going to come back to this in the next episode, and we're going to write or assemble an actual program. Then to export a program into the drone, you can put the drone in the slot here, but to actually create the program in the drone, you need the pieces required by each command. So down here we have a set of puzzle pieces, and each command allows you to create one of these pieces. So for example, we see this lime, the lime programming puzzle allows you to use the start, suicide, and wait commands. And as you can see, it costs a printed circuit board and some plastic, and you get 4 of these. And sending the program to the drone will consume the appropriate number of those puzzle pieces based on the commands you have used. Now, another thing you can do is the mod Railcraft allows you to import and export programs to and from Pastebin. So, for example, if I want to save this program, I can upload it to Pastebin, and it will be uploaded as a Pastebin file to this URL, and I can then copy this and send it to someone. And so now if I delete this program, and as you can see, there is nothing here. Now if I paste this link again and click this button, it has now loaded the program from the Pastebin file. So it's read the file and put the program back to the way it was. And lastly, this field allows you to name the drone. Which can be useful. So, with that, and with checking this PCB in here, putting in a new one, I will see you in the next episode, where we're going to actually program a drone to do something. So I will see you then.